Hi, welcome back to Scott's Shaves. This is our fourth video today. I know I took a day off. I'm sorry, but it was a rather long day. Digging in hard packed clay, let me tell you, a lot of fun. We had to dig 10 posts at 3 foot deep a piece in order to bury it and put my new vinyl fence in, all right? I will get you some pictures of that here and show you what's going on. But I actually have a special guest today in our video. I know I had mentioned her in the past and so on and so forth, and she's the lovely lady that you can see in my thumbnail on the top of this video. It's actually, believe it or not, someone who is getting into the passion of hunting for razors with me. She goes with me to antique shops out in the wild looking for these things, all right? Come here, Annalie. This is my daughter, Annalie. She wants to say hi to everyone out there on YouTube. She's very shy. She's an only child, a stay-at-home mom since she's grown up. So she's very shy. Can you say hi?
Hi.
All right. She's going to be watching me as I present to you this shave today. All right? Go ahead. Go sit down over there. So today, what I'm going to be using is the Ronson Razor, okay? It is missing the head cap here because I have the head cap right here off, ready to load this thing. So the Ronson is mostly known for their lighters, right? Ronson was a big manufacturer of lighters back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. But they made their way into razors, okay? These were produced in the United States and in Canada. If you're lucky enough to have one of these things, the Ronson Revolution is a real thing. And one thing about these that's kind of particular is they take a proprietary blade, right? It fits in here, and this cap kind of screws down like this, right? This razor was made because this way it has a stropper here on the back so that it could sharpen the blades, and that it has a closed but open comb yet type feature here on the front. But the thing about this is you can use this a couple different ways with modern blades. You can use this with DE blades, or you can even use this with injector blades. My buddy David Place has been a big proponent and leading the revolution here. And there's been many discussions. Are you an injector blade person for the Ronson, or are you a DE blade for the Ronson? I have used both. I will say that I think I rather prefer the DE blade. But in order to use this DE blade in here, you're going to need a pair of scissors, okay? Because what you're going to have to do is you kind of have to, oops, as I drop it, ruin it, that you kind of have to go here at this angle inward here across, okay? Let me show you with cutting this on camera, okay? So I'm going to go from this to that corner like that, okay? And there's a reason for that. We cut that corner out, and I will show you that we do that across there. So that piece is gone. And then I do it here and also here, okay? Make sure you don't let them go down the drain. There could be worse things, but what I have found is the easiest to put these in. David showed a way of putting a magnet on the bottom and magnetizing this to hold the blades in, because it's kind of, you have to do a balancing act. So what I like to do is just put this on, give it a slight little turn, not tight obviously, and a little loose. And then what I do is I take my DE blade and I wiggle it in all the way here, and then I line up the screw, because we have this round knob here. And then if we can keep this flat and slide in the other side here too, you can then kind of barely touch those in tight like so, with keeping it balanced, and it will get nice and straight here. Make sure the blades are straight on both sides, meaning you line up the gap with the edge of it there if you can, and then you tighten it, okay? And I will say, she is done just like so. You know, you might have to give it a little wiggle room here with your nails. You can wiggle it without cutting yourself, but just like that, you can see I have 2 DE blades in there now, right? The halves. I use the center screw from that thing. Now, how does this work, right? Well, this is spring loaded, just like that, and then you can see the blade drops down here on the comb, all right? So with given that, that's how you load this Ronson. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get my face nice and wet here. I already kind of gave it a nice warm up with some nice warm water, right? I'm going to be using today a soap made by a Trace of the Past soap by a woman by the name of Tracy out of Wisconsin. This can be found on Facebook. A tin of soap, $5, 4-ounce tin. And if you actually save the tin and reorder from her in the future, you get a little bit of money off back. This is the tobacco and bay leaf one. You know what's great about Tracy, and her and I have had some ongoing dialogue into this, and she's actually stepping into the world of wet shaving using a leaf here soon, all right? So she's rather excited about that. She makes a plethora of other soaps too, but her shaving soaps here are what I'm going to be featuring today on the channel, all right? You know, like I said, these, to be honest, I told you on the very first one, I only have about 8 soaps, and 3 of them are from her, all right? 3 of the soaps I have are from my friend Tracy over there, you know, and her soaps are soft. They're not a hard puck soap, so you don't have to really work it so much to get a good amount on your brush, right? You know, I got what I need here before I go ahead and bull lather with her soap here. This has a great smell to it. You know, the bay leaf and tobacco is fantastic. And what's great about it is I've actually consulted with her on a couple of the scents that she has. She's asked me what I think shavers would like, you know. Add a little bit of water to the bowl and then start building my lather. I will say the lather on this soap is a good foam type lather with a very good slickness, soap slickness to it. It's a light fluff lather. It's not a heavy duty type lather that you can just kind of put on your face and you feel the weight of it, you know. We know, any of us who've been doing this a while kind of know what I'm talking about. All right, as you can see here, I got a nice light fluffy lather from the soap, but it gives a great slickness, okay. She believes in making soaps. These are artisan soaps made by her, handmade, you know. She makes all her stuff and ships out to you, directly to you, and you can have a conversation with her. That's what's great about working with Tracy is I've had nothing but great results from this soap. Works fantastic. As you can see, I got a nice light lather there, and it's really good. Hit my razor a warm up, and then here we go. The Ronson is a very light touch razor, and what I mean by that is it is incredibly smooth. Incredibly. There is very few razors that I have found that are as smooth as this. Now what you like to do, instead of rinsing off and using that one blade, the Ronson has a unique feature where you can flip the blade, go back, and hey, guess what? It's kind of like DE blades, just like any other two-headed DE razor, and just flipping it around. This razor is very efficient, very smooth. It is very quick to cut through. I used it the other day with 4 days growth. In a 4 days growth, I have quite a good amount of growth going on. And yeah, you just flip it around and keep balancing the razor, you know. So this is fantastic. So if you ever have the chance of getting your hands on a Ronson, strongly suggest it. My Ronson is an American-made Ronson. I will say, it's funny, it actually comes from the Niagara Falls region of Canada, Ontario there. Michigan is not far from the Canadian border, right? I'm not far off from our Canadian friends. I actually have family that live in Canada. This razor was secured through me, through a friend in Canada. So that's how I came about owning a Canadian or an American razor that was in Canada. But it's been fantastic. I love this razor. This was shared. I did some sharing with a friend of mine, and hey, lo and behold, guess what? He now owns a Ronson too. I will say that I just happened across this razor with my friend in Canada, and it is. I bought it initially for the looks, because I mean, look at this razor. It is so crazy looking, you know? You don't get razors like this that are so unique looking and so on and so forth very often, right? You know, I put this on the equivalency scale of cool and crazy looking. It's like a Darwin #1, right? I've seen a few people in the last couple weeks bragging about their Darwin model #1s, and geez, I'm so jealous. I wish I had one, right? So, you know, I did manage to get to the Dollar Tree. I did manage to get that razor that I was talking about that I said I would showcase. You know, I should always showcase a rather cheap dollar razor with some really cheap blades, right? So from the Dollar Tree, I will be showing that here in a little bit. Get my face all wetted up again for my second pass against the grain. And just like this, right? I will say the brush I'm using is a Wild West Brushworks. This is the Florence one from 2017 was when they were established. This is another one that I got from my friend Michelle Wilson out in California out there. Enjoying the sunshine, I'm sure. Don't worry, Michigan's had its fair share of sunshine the last couple days here. As you can see, I mean, just look how light and smooth that. It's just like butter. I mean, it's just like butter. This soap, and I mean, $5 for 4 ounces. When you start looking around and what everyone else is charging, I mean, yeah, you got to pay shipping, but you pay shipping everywhere. She produces a very fine soap. It's not overpowering with scent. So those of you who have a sensitivity to scents and stuff, her stuff is not so scented that it's overpowering. And I'll tell you, me and my wife just got a soap that's called Fruit Loops from her, and just fantastic soap. Man, this razor is just so mild. Just so mild. Produces fantastic results, and it is such a light touch razor. You know, it just, to be honest with you, it's almost like it's not shaving. That's how light a touch this is. I have found personally that with the injector blades in here, I feel it's a little bit more aggressive and you have a little bit more blade feel than you do with the DE because of the thickness of the blades. I'm not going to go down the road and say that it's, because these are sharper, right? It's just, but then again, it's preference. I have used these with injectors. I really have. I just find that my preference for the Ronson is to use a DE blade modified. And as you can see, the DE blade modifies very, very easily. Pair of scissors, you're in, right? You just cut off, like I showed you, the angles there from the tips, the corners, to the half circles, and just like that, you got butter, man. It is just fantastic. So smooth. It just, you don't even hear the feedback on this thing, right? So, you know, some other thoughts I have, I think, about wet shaving right at the moment. It's an exciting time to be in it. Lots more people are coming into it, which is, you know, I guess good and bad for both reasons. I'm glad to see that people are picking it up because personally, you know, I have mentioned that I'm a chemist, but I also am an environmentalist, all right? Now, that's part of my job. I'm actually an environmental analyst for the state of Michigan. And so one of the things that's often concerning to me is about how much plastic are going into the landfills and such from these things, right? And it's not that, you know, collectors and people using these are saving the world in two ways, right? We are saving old metal from going into a trash or something when these are fantastic razors and still work marvelously. And we're also throwing all the plastic, right? All the cartridges that we would all be using. So, just like that, little cleanup. Fantastic, smooth, very smooth 2-pass shave. You know, I have never done a death test on these, so to speak, as in how many blades or how many shaves can I get out of a set of DE blades in this thing. I know David Place has with the injectors, and God, I think I've seen some of his numbers somewhere in a place of like 10 or 12 shaves just with one set of injector blades, maybe 7. I don't recall. I think it's 10 or 12, I'm pretty sure. But it also depends on the injector blade, because the Persona Tungsten 74 classic antique ones that they had used were amazing. I don't have any. I wish I did. I hear all the time how great the Persona blades back then were. But I was kind of going down the tangent of my other thoughts with DE shaving these days. One of the things that I think is great is the fact that so many different people and different people from walks of life are coming into this. And the reason I say that is because, for years and years there's been a hierarchy of, these razors are better than those razors and blah, 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 right? Who cares? But to sit here and think that one way of wet shaving is better than another, or to think that certain blades are better than another, sure, maybe true. But that's not the argument I want to get into. What I want to get into is the fact that everyone has their own preference and everything's different for everyone, right? So who am I to be judgmental on what blades or what soaps or even what method for shaving you may use? That's not me, right? I'm a laid back, easygoing guy. Obviously, I'm here filming on camera, unedited and raw. I don't ever edit and I don't ever do anything. So, it's I'm glad to see that people can express themselves in razors, right? Your razor collection, how you choose to shave, and everything is a reflection as you as an individual, right? The types of patterns you choose to have as brushes and stuff are all personal expressions of how you really are as a person. And that's what I really love about this, is for the fact that there's so much customizability between the soaps, the brushes, even the razors themselves, even if they are vintage razors. There's a plethora of them, right? I had heard that there's some dude out there that has like a collection of like 10,000 safety razors or something ridiculous. I would love to see that collection someday. But the fact that that exists goes and tells me that there's 10,000 different choices of someone to, or all of us, to have different variations of, right? So, with that, now I want to thank you all for joining me. Ronson Revolution, my buddy David Place, right? Thank you all for joining me on Scotch Shaves. And you guys, as Ron Burgundy would say, stay classy.